My name is Sikhanyiso Mdlalose, otherwise known as Ziggy. I am the head of digital at Visium, specifically working on the Airbnb account.
Hi, everybody. I'm Amanda Cromhout. I'm the founder and CEO of Truth, which is a boutique loyalty consultancy firm in South Africa.
Awesome. Cool. Again, thank you very much, Amanda Cromhout, for allowing myself to speak to you. I've been doing quite a few research pieces and your name came up across everywhere. So if you're not the only specialist out there, it's really, really great to have your time. And my thought piece is speaking about loyalty programs. I went through your 2019-2020 white paper talking about loyalty programs within South Africa, specifically targeting people with household income of 10,000 above. So basically the economical part of the essay. What's really interesting that stood out for me is that 72% of those respondents have a loyalty program, and with an average around 5. I mean, thinking back myself, I think way back to the old loyalty programs of travel and your Spurs and your clicks. I think the first one is, what is it about loyalty programs that brands and companies want to invest in?
I think first and foremost, Ziggy, is the opportunity to say thank you to their customers, to recognize some great loyalty to their brand. And I think ultimately they're obviously looking for a commercial return, but also the changing landscape of the data privacy and ability to capture first-party data. You know, it's actually loyalty programs give you permission to have that relationship on a first-party level. And we see some great reports saying 79% of consumers would actually prefer that their brands spend less money on Facebook advertising and more invested in saying thank you through a loyalty relationship.
Awesome, awesome. And do you believe would loyalty programs still have a place in marketing mix today? I mean, and in the future, because I mean, there's the likes of buy-in shops and like really esteemed marketers are saying that people are no longer loyal to brands anymore.
There's absolutely a place for loyalty programs. I think, as you say, from our brand map and truth white paper, there's 72% of economically active South Africans are using loyalty programs, not just having the card, but actually using them. So the voice is coming from our consumers saying, yes, please, we want these, we use them. But at the end of the day, as I said, from a marketing mix point of view, loyalty programs don't replace the basics of great product, price, promotion, etc. They're part of that marketing mix, but they do give almost, we call it like the icing on the cake, where they bring the whole thing together because it gives permission for that brand to strike up a one-on-one relationship with the ability to personalize and make that relationship stronger. So it will create a better relationship with the consumer rather than just being a blanket company marketing to their database.
And what's interesting is you did a lot of differences between your 18 to 24 and your 50 over, and there was quite a few differences in between those, because you can see the legacy of people who are over the ages of 50 who've lived with many cards in their wallets, and compared to the more younger youth who are rising up. And how do you foresee the millennial audience taking up loyalty programs in the future?
Well, right now it's a lot less. So I think, as you saw in the white paper, the average is 72% across all age groups, but for the under 25s, it's 45%. So it's a lot less. I don't really know the exact definition of millennials anymore, but let's just say under 25s. But yeah, so there's less of a take up, less of an engagement. And I think a lot of that actually is related to income, because there's a direct correlation in the income status to the loyalty usage status, more money, more usage. So a lot of that is dictated too for the fact that our youngsters have less to spend. But also I do think programs have got to work harder to engage across the right channels, with the right excitement with a younger audience. So, and also we see that the younger customers actually don't just want to be rewarded themselves. They want the ability to be able to almost share the love that they've accumulated, donate points or share points, whereas the older customers much more well, no, I want my tier status and I want my priority access and I want my upgrades and so forth. So yeah, a different mindset altogether.
And what trends are you noticing locally and globally within the space? I mean, are there any other sectors creeping up? I'm seeing the banking is starting to become a very strong player compared to 5 years. What you demonstrated now, banking is becoming, it's almost overriding that retail that was taking majority of the space in the share of voice. As well as, I mean, there was one of the questions you had where what could people live without? Or what is the number one? And majority was a banking related program. So from your sense and what you've been doing lately, what is some of the trends you're seeing?
Yeah, so we see it now, interestingly, across all industries. It's no longer just a retailer's toolbox use of loyalty programs. All industries and financial services, particularly, as you say, retail banking is really over-indexing there. We are seeing a lot of activities, you've probably noticed, in the fuel industry, but a lot of that is linked to the retail banking relationship or the insurance company's relationship. So in South Africa, it's a lot happening, a lot of changes. But what we are seeing, I mean, we obviously as Truth, we track global trends and we input into global discussion forums about this. We're seeing some really great activities taking place where loyalty programs are starting to do more than just reward for the transaction, the financial transaction. So we see a lot of behaviors around rewarding for non-transactional activities. So rather than just spend, we'll reward you for sharing the program or talking to us on social media or updating your details, because that can be a very costly exercise. So rather, let's reward you in loyalty points. And one of the local brands that's doing that the best, I believe, is Old Mutual. They give you points for speaking to a broker, updating your financial status, understanding your credit record. None of that involves you actually taking out an Old Mutual product. But then they learn more about you, I'm sure, in the background, and then their ability to tailor their offering to you and ultimately then reward you for your custom. So it's a really strong way of getting a great one-on-one relationship. And then we see some brands like, for example, the Shell, the global company Shell, not locally but internationally in the UK, their program actually rewards its customers by saying, if you're part of our loyalty program, every time you come to our forecourt, we'll offset your carbon emissions. So they're tying their corporate strategy, their CSI, their environmental strategy into the loyalty program, which I just think is fantastic.
Awesome, awesome. One would assume the app adoption would have been higher, especially amongst millennials. Do you believe in the next report you're going to see something different, especially with the pandemic adding an extra influence in app adoption?
So if I was a betting woman, I would say yes. But I've had especially as you say, post the pandemic or during the pandemic, but I've had a sneak preview at some of the data, and I don't think it's going to change much, surprisingly.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I think South Africans still like to use the card, the old-fashioned card, and a lot of that is due to the fact that when I go into my local retailer and I want to use my app, there's no 3G service, for example. So what do? So it's not just about the app adoption, it's more around the whole environment and storage space on an iPhone, or not necessarily an iPhone, on a smartphone. So the storage space, not just data, is a big issue.
That's a really great insight, because I did notice that it's still a large percentage, but I also wanted to see that the over 50 were definitely more, the index was higher from a card, but it was actually very interesting insight in terms of I mean, your wallet is always with you, and we still very much a wallet cash, and especially from an African sense, there's still a cash continent. So it was very interesting that I thought the app would probably be a bit higher amongst the millennials, but I think that's a great insight from a 3G perspective.
It's just the ability to use the app. It's not always on because the environment doesn't allow it to be.
And then, in your opinion, who do you believe is the #1 loyalty program in SA, and why?
If you have to hold a gun to my head and make me choose one, we did ask a killer question in the white paper about which loyalty program can you not live without if you can only choose one? And eBucks is the winner there. So they effectively are ticking all the boxes in terms of making it easy for their customers. They have digital omni-channel across all their different channels, and they have a lot of partners. They've been doing this for a long time. They're not new kids on the block. They're one of the oldest standing loyalty programs, and they strive to get 100% redemption rate, which is effectively giving back all the value of the eBucks to their members. And the principle behind their program, if you listen to their CEO, Johan Mulman, is we are here to service the bank who services our customers. So everything they do is to support the bank, which is therefore they're trying to encourage redemption, because then customers are more engaged, more attached to this loyalty program, which makes their banking life easier and so forth.
Awesome.
The data in the brand map and truth white paper is based from a South African consumer, but the work that we've done across Africa, we work with a lot of different clients around the world actually, but if we just talk about South Africa, is we're not seeing any vast skews away from the findings in our truth and brand map white paper that are making basically our data is transferable certainly across the Southern African countries. What we do find in some other countries, maybe in Kenya, obviously the mobile adoption rate is higher, or the mobile usage rate is higher. So there's some slight nuances there. But principally our data is, whilst it is the South African consumer, we personally have found that it can be used with a filter across other countries.
Is there any standout a company outside of South Africa, in Africa, that is doing great things? Any brands that you're aware of?
So we had the privilege of working with a company in Mauritius called IBL, and we worked with them. We designed from strategy through to execution, through to onboarding and tech partner and so forth, a wonderful loyalty program called Weave, W-I-I-V, Weave Rewards. It's a coalition program, which means it's multi-partner, where you earn and burn the same currency, but across lots of partners. And overnight, it became the biggest loyalty program in Mauritius. And last year, we saw it win the best loyalty program in Africa and Middle East. So a project we're extremely proud of. But if you actually go onto weaverewards.com, you can see it's a very energetic, consumer-facing loyalty proposition, but a complex program because it's multi-partner, but done well and done simply.
Oh, perfect. No, I'll definitely go do some research around that. Look, I think we could spend hours and hours talking about this, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for your time. I know if people are interested, you can go to thetruth.co.za where you can download the white paper. And just for out of interest, when is the new one coming out?
$1 million question, but yeah, the new one will have updated statistics, obviously post-COVID, not post, but during COVID. So we are hoping, the research has come to a conclusion, so we're now massaging the numbers. Our partner Brand Map are doing all of that. I'm hoping, don't hold me to it, but hopefully in August.
Awesome stuff. No, thank you very much, and have a lovely day.
Great, thank you. My pleasure.